It has taken a little longer than expected, but finally both version 2.0 characters have now been confirmed, which are Carlotta dropping in the first phase and Roccia dropping within the second phase. So if you have watched my most recent video going over all of the Renacita characters, you will know that these two characters specifically have a ton of potential value. However, we are still in version 1.4 and Yinlin's rerun banner is dropping very soon within the second phase alongside XiangliYao. But since I suspect majority of players already have XiangliYao since he was a free character in 1.2, I'll then just be focusing on Yinlin's rerun banner, and even more so since I do believe Yinlin is the most valuable banner in version 1.4. So of course players that were intending to pick up Yinlin might now be a bit hesitant since the reveal of our version 2.0 characters. With that, I'll be attempting to make your decision on who to summon for more clear by going over some kit standouts for Yinlin and both 2.0 characters, the sort of team flexibility each character will hold, and ultimately who exactly possesses the most long-term value. Just before we jump into it, as always, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Now since Yinlin will be dropping sooner than others, I'll be kicking it off with some of her kit standouts. As most players should know, Yinlin is a sub DPS character that specializes in buffing electro characters through her extremely valuable outro skill, given it provides 20% electro damage bonus and 25% resonance liberation damage bonus, allowing for every electro character to receive a massive spike in DPS. Additionally, Yinlin is in fact able to deal considerable burst damage through multiple abilities, which will definitely stack up against a boss alongside your main DPS to allow for much quicker clear times. Also, since Yinlin is primarily a burst damage dealer, it means she really doesn't take up much field time, allowing for main DPS characters that do require a ton of field time to have free reign. However, this is further amplified by the fact that Yinlin is capable of dealing electro-coordinated attacks for up to 18 seconds, which can be activated very often through Yinlin dealing a heavy attack once her forte gauge has been maxed. So this tied with Yinlin being a burst damage dealer and the fact that her outro skill buff provided to the main DPS would expire when switching them out, essentially allows for Yinlin to be one of the lowest field time dependent characters in the game, and again, would be perfect for main DPS characters that do have long rotations or burst windows. So of course when it comes to team flexibility, Yinlin would undoubtedly be then one of the best sub DPS characters in the game. As mentioned, she does specialize in buffing electro characters such as XiangliYao, Calcharo, and even Lumi, which is dropping alongside Yinlin very soon. However, Yinlin's ability to deal coordinated attacks along with part of her outro skill buffing resonance liberation damage by 25% certainly makes her more than just an electro DPS support, as characters such as Changli and Jinxin would majorly benefit from Yinlin's resonance liberation damage buff, along with the additional damage dealt from her coordinated attacks. Though with Jinxin specifically, she does in fact depend on her allies dealing coordinated attacks to receive forte stacks more efficiently. With that, Yinlin would be one of the best sub DPS characters for Jinxin, even though she is a Spectro DPS character, which just goes to show how versatile of a sub DPS Yinlin truly is. So naturally, Yinlin will possess an immense amount of long-term value, since not only does she massively buff electro characters, but will enable other DPS characters to deal significantly more damage with the liberation, inflicts great burst damage herself, and will provide her allies with a lot of field time whilst dealing coordinated attacks. So with that taken into consideration, it really is a no-brainer that Yinlin is a great character to have on your account due to the amount of utility her kit possesses. Now as for our version 2.0 characters, just bear in mind we don't have as much detail as we do with Yinlin, but there's enough through speculations and other sources to provide a rough idea on where these characters will stand. As mentioned, dropping first will be Carlotta, which is going to be a Glacier type gun DPS character. So with that alone, Carlotta will for sure be one of the most hyped characters to look forward to, given we don't have any 5-star gun DPS characters in the game. Though in regards to her DPS, Carlotta will be very different to our current gun characters as she isn't going to be a dual wielder. but instead will utilize the rifle she is holding in her initial drip reveal. So just as I stated in my previous video, Carlotta will likely sacrifice the speed and quick fire rate shown by our dual pistol characters in exchange for dealing significantly more DPS at a slower fire rate. That paired with the undeniable fact that DPS characters are becoming more powerful over time, Carlotta certainly has potential to be one of the best DPS characters in the game, and especially since she is a 2.0 character, which is usually when new mechanics and abilities are introduced that would allow characters to stand out much more than previous characters. So it would be fitting for Carlotta to be a great DPS character, but to be amongst the best is pretty difficult to argue as of now. However, for her to be one of the most fun DPS characters to utilize with flashy new abilities is something that would be fair to expect and will likely be the case. Though regarding Carlotta's team flexibility, for a main DPS character there will be quite a few synergies she can work with, as she is a Glacial type DPS, and as I've been told, Carlotta possesses numerous resonant skill variations, meaning that resonant skill damage is likely the main source of her high damage dealing capabilities. So with that in mind, Zhezhi is in fact the best sub DPS character and is practically made for Carlotta, given she provides 20% Glacial damage bonus and 25% resonant skill damage bonus, which means Carlotta will be capable of fully utilizing Zhezhi's outro skill and will receive a massive increase in DPS. That paired with Zhezhi's ability to also deal coordinated attacks and quick concerto energy generation would mean Zhezhi will be able to deal considerable DPS off field and provides Carlotta with sufficient field time. Therefore, Zhezhi's kit is stacked with utility, which allows both herself and Carlotta to synergize very well together. Alternatively, there aren't any other characters that can buff Glacial damage, but there is both Taoqi and Lumi that are capable of buffing resonant skill damage by 38%. Taoqi on one hand is more of a support and can provide more survivability along with her resonant skill damage buff. Then on the other hand, Lumi is more of a sub DPS that can deal solid melee and range damage, provides a 38% resonant skill damage bonus that does last 4 seconds less than Taoqi's buff, but is made up by the fact Lumi is also capable of providing a 20% attack buff through her final sequence node. So considering that you would ideally want to use either Verena or the Shorekeeper as a support, Lumi would then be the best alternative, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Taoqi is still a viable support for Carlotta, as she can provide a massive boost to her DPS. So with that, there are both premium and free-to-play options for Carlotta, allowing her to be quite flexible for a main DPS character. However, as usual, when considering long-term value of a main DPS character, they will not hold as much when compared to sub-DPS characters and support, since they are easily replaced by stronger damage dealers over time. That being said, Carlotta likely will deal enough damage to claim majority of content, which is all that really matters, and especially since again she is a 2.0 character, there's a good chance that she will stand out from most DPS characters with unique mechanics and abilities, allowing her to be a very special DPS character overall. Moving over to the second phase, Roccia will be our featured resonator and presumably is a Havoc type sub DPS character, due to the fact that she has been stated to be Camellia's dedicated sub DPS partner. So of course with that alone, every single Camellia owner will certainly want to ensure they do pick Roccia up, given how your skill will likely provide 20% Havoc damage bonus and 25% basic attack damage bonus, which would of course provide Camellia with a massive boost in DPS. So it would be fair to say that Roccia is in fact the Havoc equivalent to Yinlin and Zhezhi, as they all provide dual effects through the outro skill and each specialize in buffing a specific element, which does kinda show the sort of value Roccia will hold overall. Though as for her abilities specifically, they really could be anything from dealing coordinated attacks just like Yinlin and Zhezhi, or will be completely unique abilities to herself, as again she is a 2.0 character. However, as she supposedly is tailored for Camellia, abilities to improve Camellia's combat experience, such as providing a shield to increase resistance to interruption, or an ability linked to providing additional concerto energy to allies, would be something to then consider, especially since she will be our latest sub DPS as of version 2.0, so possessing such a unique mechanic to allow her to stand out would be completely reasonable to expect. Now with Roccia's team flexibility, given as I just mentioned she is the Havoc type equivalent to Yinlin and Zhezhi, it means she will for sure be quite flexible within team building and will certainly hold an immense amount of longevity. Of course, she will specialize in buffing Havoc type DPS characters such as Camellia and Havoc Rover, but since there are characters such as Anko and Lumi that deal a lot of basic attack damage through their abilities, as much as Sanhua might be the best option in providing the most basic attack damage bonus, Roccia will still be a viable option, and closer to her release we will be able to see the full extent of her kit's utility, in which we may find Roccia to ultimately be more valuable than Sanhua for basic attack damage dealers. However, that will require us to wait on Roccia's kit to release to see whether that will be the case, along with who else exactly Roccia will be able to support. Till then, it's safe to assume Roccia will be an amazing sub DPS for all Havoc characters and more so for Camellia. So with just that, the ability to support not only one of the best DPS characters in the game, but all Havoc characters currently and in the future is an extremely valuable trait, allowing for Roccia to be one of the most valuable characters in the entire game and to hold a ton of longevity. So now, with everything considered, who you should prioritize pulling for as always will be completely dependent on your account, as if you are specifically a XiangliYao main and you have enjoyed playing with him ever since picking him up for free in 1.2, Yinlin will then be a must pull if you don't have her, since she is the best sub DPS for him by a long shot. Though if you aren't concerned about XiangliYao or if you already have Yinlin on your account, then it comes down to whether or not you need another DPS character to carry you through Tower of Adversity or if you own Camellia. Since if your account is lacking powerful main DPS characters, then Carlotta will be the one to prioritize. Even more so if you already have Zhezhi, as then you would have Carlotta's best sub DPS on release and you would have access to her highest DPS output. If you don't have Zhezhi, she is in fact possibly returning between 2.0 and 2.1, given we are receiving XiangliYao's rerun in the second half of 1.4. So if you do want to pick up Carlotta no matter what, then just consider that you'll probably want to also pick up a best partner around the same time. Lastly, if you are one of the many Camellia owners out there, then of course Roccia will undoubtedly be at the top of your list as she is tailor-made for Camellia. But even without Camellia, I do suspect she will be a great character with unique abilities that may prove beneficial to many DPS characters. Though that being said, it is still way too early to tell. So with that, it is completely down to your account, but regardless of who you pick up, they all certainly hold a ton of value and fill completely different roles. Hence why it's difficult to really state which character is more of a must. Especially since Yinlin and Roccia are both sub DPS characters, meaning they will hold the same amount of long-term value. So ultimately, it's best to just see which of these characters would be more ideal for your account. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also, drop a comment down below on who exactly will you be prioritizing within the next upcoming banners. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.